Hi, my name is Krista Bourgeois. I'm a modular live performer, and I recently just made a masterclass with SINEE on how to perform live with your modular synthesizer. Today I'd like to share some 5 do's and don'ts that I think might be helpful for you. So the first do that I have is to get flexible modules that give you a lot of different contexts that you can use them in your live set and are not one-trick ponies. Don't get modules that are one-trick ponies and that are not very performative and are a little bit finicky. So some examples of some modules that I do recommend getting are things like the Warp or the Piston Honda. They can be molded into a lot of different sounds, including drones, one-shot sort of lead hits, percussive things, as well as more drawn-out sounds. These are incredibly flexible modules. They do have presets, and they're just really a dream for live performance. There are some one-trick pony modules. I'm not going to name any names, but ones that maybe just make one sound, that's it, or their controls are so finicky where if you bump a knob, it's just going to sound terrible. I really don't recommend having those in your live rack because they're just going to make your live harder. And also, we all know that HP is like prime real estate. You only have so much room, so you want to pick modules that are just going to make your life a little bit nicer when you're performing live. My second set of do's and don'ts is going to be, do you use filters and EQs? This is really important for balancing your mix. I know a lot of modular music can start to get a little bit muddy in the mix down, and this is typically from having way too many sounds overlapping in the same frequency spectrum. So a good way to manage this is to be using filters or a combination of filters and EQ modules. There are some great EQ modules out now in varying size and form factors. The ones that I really like are from Modular Maritime. I don't really know how they're pronounced. I think it's Isotita, but they're little 5-band EQ modules. And I think they're just super convenient, especially if you have that one use space. They do make the 3U ones now too, which is really cool. And so I send my more distorted sounds through those and just sort of clean up the mix, especially in that low mid-range where distortion tends to kind of freak out. It's nice to tame that a bit. And I also recommend using filters, which I'm sure a lot of you already do that, but especially on your more crazy sounds, sort of carving out a little space for them with filters can also be a nice way to manage your mix. So coupled with that do on using filters and EQs to clean up your mix, I don't recommend distorting everything. I know if you want to make some more industrial or harsh music, distortion is definitely your friend, but you need to choose the time and place. Putting distortion on everything is just going to lead to a nightmare of a mix, and honestly, I don't think the distortion really sounds that hard anymore, if that makes sense. It really starts to sound a lot more dramatic when you only have certain elements that are distorted and they are juxtaposed against clean elements that are not distorted. So for example, I distort my kick drums and I distort most of my percussion. Things like my hi-hats and my leads are generally not distorted. Having that balance, I think, is the key to having a clean mix. Hi, my name is Krista Bourgeois, and if you're curious about how I perform live with my modular, I've recorded a masterclass for SINEE where I go over my history and how I learned modular, choosing the appropriate modules for your live rack, what to bring to a gig and what to ask for on a rider, and how I integrate my modular recordings into Ableton for my further productions down the road. If you're curious about these topics, I hope to see you in the masterclass out now on the SINEE platform. So my third tip that I would recommend for do and don't is do bring extra cables to your gig. I feel like cables are the most common point of failure and not something you want to have happen during your live set. And this is speaking from experience, as this has happened to me quite recently, where I had a MIDI cable sort of just take a dump on me partway through my set. And it was halfway working, halfway not working. And since I do a lot of my stuff over MIDI, and I'm sure a lot of other people do too, it's a bummer to have your MIDI acting up, especially when it is carrying really important things like my kick drums. So definitely bring extra cables. Coupled with that tip is going to be, don't use cheap cables. I was not using really nice cables. I was using cables more for the cable management aspect. They were right-angled cables, which is really nice, but they were cheap cables. So I recommend having high-quality cables because this is something that is just going to be kind of your lifeline for your live set if you are using some sort of outboard gear or you are doing things over MIDI or any other thing like Ethernet. It's just to have high-quality cables. So that is a tip that I needed to learn, and I feel like you should know too. Number 4 is a really important do, and I think you should really plan out your rack and your signal routing before you go and buy a bunch of modules. Or if you already have your live rack or your sound design rack or your home rack, whatever, set up and you're thinking about going and buying a couple modules, one module, whatever, I think it's just really important to plan out your rack on Modular Grid and then make a signal diagram with all of your routing and see, do you actually have the modules that you need, and are the modules you're thinking about getting actually essential, or can you do it with existing modules? This is one, going to save you money, and two, just going to save you a huge headache than buying modules that don't work out. They're either going to get shelved, never played, or you're going to return them or sell them. Like, we all know that that happens where you buy a module that doesn't work out. So I think actually sitting down and thinking it through a little bit can really save you a lot of time and money. Coupled with that, don't go and buy a bunch of modules you don't have a specific plan for. I definitely was guilty of that in the beginning. I bought a bunch of modules I thought were cool, that were hyped up on like some modular YouTube channels and stuff like that. Just ones that I thought sounded cool, but I really didn't have a use case for them. And it took me a really long time to actually integrate them into my live set, and some of them are now in my sound design rack, which is typically just modules I didn't have space for and were kind of just, I don't know, spur of the moment purchases. So I don't think it's really practical to do this, and it's okay to splurge on a module that maybe you don't have a plan for but you want to use for sound design. But if you're trying to build up a live rack quickly and efficiently, don't just go and buy anything that looks cool. Really have a specific purpose in mind when you go and buy a module. And the last tip I have is just immerse yourself in everything when it comes to modular. Starting a live set and getting into the world of live performance can be super intimidating, but one thing that can help is just reading any books you can find about it, like the Patch and Tweak series, watching documentaries like Sisters with Transistors or I Dream of Wires, going to your local modular nights if you do have them, going to any sort of modular meetups, which I know is happening in a lot of regions now, which is super cool, and just meeting other modular people. This can get you really fired up, make things a little bit less scary, and give you sort of a community and support network to ask questions. This is something that I think is invaluable, and I think that if you really want to do live performance, you just really need to surround yourself with everything modular. And for my don't, it's just never stop learning. Even once you've learned the basics and you feel like you have a good understanding of modular or how you want to do your live set, I mean, modular is an endless topic and you can continue learning forever. Same with sound design, same with production, and all those sorts of fields that are related to what you're doing with live performance. It's a never-ending journey, and you should find a lot of joy in that, and that it's never going to get boring. So you should definitely just keep learning and keep improving, and that's the fun and joy of modular. And if you're curious about how I design my live set, how I learned, how I got started, and my process behind just everything when it comes to my live set, every little detail I could think about is going to be included in my masterclass that is coming out on the SINEE platform. I really recommend you check it out, and I hope that my tips here and in the masterclass can help you along on your live set journey.